with this. Hello my kings, queens and fellow non-binary leaders, and welcome to today's video. Today's video is gonna be another reaction video, as you have seen, because Rice videos are amazing and we're not through with reacting to all of them. I don't even know why I'm doing this explaining every time, but hey, I'm ADHD and I'm all over the place right now. I think you're used to it by now, so let's get this started. Okay, so today we're reacting to A Sacrifice Worth Taking. I hate the title. Right, I really hate it. I mean, no, it's an amazing title, but like, I'm so afraid. Because I thought today would be the perfect time to get our hearts broken, here we are. As you know, this is a continuation, a sequel to the Boku Akakodoken series. It all started with a harmless prank gone wrong. And now here we are. I sadly missed the last premiere of my own reaction video to this. Like, to the part before it. I fell asleep, I'm so sorry, I'm really exhausted lately. But that should not stop us at this point, and I promise to be at the premiere this time. Anyways, thoughts beforehand. I'm trying not to swear this early on in the video, so we're screwed. It's bad. Good. Let's go to the good parts first because they're quicker to list. The good parts, Kenma has recovered, Akashi has recovered, at least from what we can tell. So no, that will be a lie. I wanted to say no one is in immediate danger of dying, but then I remembered Bokuto. Because let's shift our focus to the bad parts. Bokuto systematically broke his trust with the others. Again, I think Kuro was so justified in being mad at him. I'm sorry, Bokuto, but he just was. Like, communication is key, and Bokuto failed at that this time. The police is still very much incompetent. Oh, no. I believe Daichi will only become a police officer because to do a better job than his uncle or whatever, so. And last but not least, Bokuto is currently with the killer at a convenience store or whatever at gunpoint. We're having a big problem right now. We're having a big problem, which is why I'm really excited to watch this today, but also really nervous. And because of that, I have Arp here again, our cute emotional support plushie. Also, I don't know if any of you guys know the channel The Click. I would highly recommend it. I just had to think about it right now because he just released a plushie called the Emotional Support Demon. It's the cutest thing I've ever seen and I love the concept, and of course I already ordered one. I should have ordered 50 and filled a bathtub with it. Those who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. Just a quick side rant, and now let's get started with the video. Let's get our heart broken. I have my energy drink. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. This is the first time in forever that I had an energy drink during the video. And the reason is a very good one, because I want to make daily uploads till the year ends. I'm working really hard on this right now, so that's something you all can look forward to in case you are here on my channel because you like my videos, and if you're not, if you don't, then what are you doing? Like, literally. And before I'm blabbering on, because this is something I'm apparently really good at, let's get started. I love the intro we're watching right now. Ooh. God, I'm so excited. I'm hoping the happy end is.
Hello, welcome back to my channel.
Oh,
if you are new here and like the video, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button for more content. Thank you for watching.
Okay, this better? Normal! We are at the normal
Hello everyone,
pace.
this is the third and final part of the side series of the Polly prank.
Beautiful
This
thumbnail, by
of
the way.
course featuring
Really
Boku
love the composition.
Akakodoken. With this being said, if you are new to this channel and just started wanting to watch this is not going to make any sense, so I will put the links in the description. I will warn that there is a lot of violence in this video, mentions of death, blood, all of that fun stuff.
We're not
There
off
is
to a
even
good
a warning
start.
at some point in this video, which I have never done. That just goes to show. Anyways,
Wait, what?
let's get
I didn't catch that.
fun stuff. There is even a warning at some point in this video, which I have never done. That just goes to show. Anyways, let's get to
We're
this.
screwed.
The raging storms were still and silent. Nothing seemed to comprehend or make any sense. The captain Anekama was still, with a knot in his throat. His hazel eyes that once radiated a brown sun warmed with an inner gold were now blown wide in utter shock and disbelief. What? The front door of his home was swung wide open.
Wait, what?
Both Kenma and Nakashi were in the other room, completely unaware and oblivious to the situation the Raven was facing alone. He was on his way out to try to find Bokuto, realizing that he never came home that night, but was stopped by a police officer. My name is Officer Sawamura.
Still
This is the
incompetent.
residence of Kura Tetsuro. Kura knew that Bokuto was somehow involved with something big and dangerous, so much that he couldn't even tell them what it was. Yes, it is. But what is this? I'm aware this isn't the kids, Bokuto's residence, but you are listed as an emergency contact. Emergency? The officer paused.
So are they finally doing their job and informing the people that they are in danger? Hallelujah. How did we get here?
Has that kid really told you nothing?
Yeah, he was stupid like that.
Kota just nodded his head, making the latter smack his lips. The captain offered for him to come in. From there, both setters' eyes looked with a hint of curiosity, seeing the officer walk into their living room. Tetsu? What is this? Kota took a seat in between the two setters, taking their hands into his own, while the officer pulled up a chair and sat across from them.
Sorry, Aaron.
We are about to find out. The older man cleared his throat. Where should I start? What all do you know? Close to nothing, but we have some suspicions.
They all should have told
The
them from
officer
very
let
start.
out yet another sigh before explaining everything. From Sato's escape and how he was appointed to the case that left both him and his accomplice behind bars, and how Bokuto had just so happened to know about and practically begged him to let him help. And the latest news. When I left the station for the night, the kid said he was going to leave, and he was right. I ended up leaving something behind and having to go back to get it. The office was empty, and he clenched his jaw, pulling a piece of paper out of his vest. This was left at his station. Kenma was the first to take the crumpled paper. The chicken scratch and pen was undeniably Bokuto's. I gotta leave, and I can't wait any longer. I'm going after them. I'm sorry for keeping you in the dark. If something goes wrong, look after them.
I love this. Oh my god.
Why are you here then? Why are you showing us this?
Oh my god.
He is okay, right? Kota squeezed his hand, feeling the panic, and his lover's voice hit him like a dagger in the chest.
Haven't they been through enough?
I'm not sure how to say this, but
Not me saying this, but doing the same to Daisuke.
no. He couldn't possibly mean.
Bokuto is
No.
fine.
It was simply just not possible. He hasn't shown back up to the station, and we haven't been able to get a hold of him.
So bad.
So he isn't gone? Both panic and more confusion overcame the boys. What happened to Bokuto? We do have a lead to find him, so don't worry. I will make sure that I bring him back to you.
If I knew that it would tear
I'd
up this
recommend
soon,
Ling
I
Lo,
wouldn't have
considering
redone my
Sato's
makeup.
target is you.
Right,
He
I'm
gestured over
looking
to
at you
Kenma.
specifically, right? Okay.
I mean, what did I ever do? The officer said.
Wait. I said that these past two videos already, but like, if they are aware that Kenma is Sato's target, then what the fuck are they doing not putting an officer by his side or in front of his door or whatever to protect him? Like, I don't want to go straight to witness protection program because I don't know how this works. I'm not a professional in any way, shape, or form. But like, they should have implemented some form of protection, right? Like, someone very, very obviously made an attempt at Kenma's life. So, what is to say that they won't do it again? I'm confused.
Beats me. We assume it's merely for his own amusement to cure his boredom. The Sutter gulped, imagining Bokuto coming to that same conclusion, which is why he would put himself into danger. He hated how selfless he could be. Because of that selflessness, he was going to get himself killed.
But that's just canon.
I'm just here to inform you of the situation. We will shortly send out a team to go retrieve him from where we believe he is.
Will you also send out someone to look after Kenma?
Call the station if he shows up here.
Who? Bokuto? Or the freaking murderer? Because, like, I feel like if the murderer shows up there, it's a bit late to call the station. Like, how about you position an officer by his side? Me.
He stood up. If you'll excuse me. And just like that, the officer left with this devastating news, leaving the three boys in a dreadful silence.
And probably alone, without
Not
anyone
one
to
of
protect
them
him.
had the courage to break the silence that lingered in the room. They didn't know what they could say if they had the courage. Akashi knew that if he did utter a word, he would break down, so he stayed sufficed with the silence and his quiet tears. He wasn't sure what time it was when he came to. He knew that after he confronted Inoue and came face to face with Sato, he was given no other choice but to comply with the gun to his head. Now he was tied to a chair in the back workroom of the.
I'm sorry. I'm not laughing about this. Now I remember that song again. It was like, Father, put a gun to my head. Said, sometimes I hate my ADHD, but sometimes I love it.
Convenience store. His jaw ached, and so did it everywhere else that he was beaten. He had this urge to wipe the warm liquid from the side of his head and underneath his nose, but was proven incapable by the rope holding him captive. The only thing he could do was glare at the cashier, Inoue, while Sato was out doing who knows what. He didn't even bother fighting against the rope, knowing that would only result in rubbing his wrist raw. Jeez, no need to drill a hole in my head.
There is very much.
He laughed lightly, but regardless walked over with a fresh towel and pan of water and began wiping the side of Bokuto's head, making him flinch back. Sit still, or it will only hurt more.
Suspicious.
You really caught Mr. Sato on a bad day. He laughed again, gently going over Bokuto's eyes with the towel. This boy seemed odd, but maybe he could work with this. Even though it was wishful thinking, maybe Bokuto could get through to him and maybe reason with him. Inoue is your name, right?
It's a beautiful
He
name,
frowned,
though.
pressing a little harder on Bokuto's wounds unintentionally. That is my real name, but I prefer if you don't use that while I'm working. Bokuto knew that he wasn't talking about his part-time job as a cashier, but as Sato's psychic. You're around my age, right? Yeah, I'm a second year. So, he was younger than him. What was a kid doing in this line of work? Why are you doing this? What is your objective, siding with a guy like that? I think you are talking too much. He
I'm
bumped
curious,
into Bokuto's shoulder that just so happened to be his injured one. The ace hissed in pain and fixed his glare back on the younger.
You know, a second before I was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt and like, oh, maybe he had a really, really troubled life, but now, I don't like him. I don't
This
see
is
the big
asinine.
picture.
You know
Only
that,
fictional
right?
ones, though. Only fictional.
Inoue stood up, taking the dirty towel and water away. Probably, but I don't think that would matter in the future. Thinking about it, my actions will soon be forgotten once everyone is gone, and my life will simply continue.
That sounds very ominous
Everyone
and threatening.
dies, so what's the point in prolonging it? I'm only letting them see the other side sooner.
Ooh, but I like the voice act. Ooh,
The
that
owl
was
couldn't
good.
help but laugh.
Oh, shit.
You're insane.
Mm-hmm.
Why, thank you. That wasn't a compliment.
Okay, I love this dialogue.
Inoue just shrugged his shoulders and left the room, leaving the captain alone with his thoughts.
This is golden.
This was crazy.
Very much so.
While he had lost track of time, it should be Christmas Eve. This wasn't how it was supposed to happen. Right now, he should be home, listening to Kodo ramble on about who knows what, probably making Christmas Eve dinner.
No, don't.
Akashi would probably be helping him, knowing how he was, and Kimmel would be propped up against Bokuto's chest, playing a game on his Switch, while the owl would play with his hair.
Look.
Whether it was running his fingers through his hair, or braiding it.
Oh shit. Look, hurting the characters is one thing, but it's the work of someone who truly knows what they're doing. When they can hurt you with something that supposedly is beautiful, and Rai can do that really well. Like, and I don't just mean using fluff, for example, at the beginning to. What's the opposite of soften the fall? Like to increase the fall so that you hit the ground harder. I'm liking words right now. That is also a sign of a good writer. But to create these moments where, for example, a beautiful memory is becoming bittersweet due to the new circumstances, that's what I love the most about writing. That's what I love the most about telling stories, because it shows this complexity that is within everything. Like, life is never straightforward or simple, and things aren't simply one thing. Like, most of the memories we have aren't just good or just bad, and if they are, they can turn just as quickly. Like, in this case, you have this very beautiful, not even memory at this point, but it just like what should have been, and inherently, at first glance, it's the most beautiful thing ever. It's something magical, something positive. But in context of this, it just increases the pain the character feels and suddenly becomes bittersweet. And these are the moments in writing that I just adore. And if a writer can do that and make you feel a bittersweet emotion, I personally think that bittersweet is one of the best. Not necessarily the hardest to write. The hardest would probably be something like comedy, because comedy isn't easy. Comedy isn't easy. Tragic, everyone can write something tragic and angsty. But I think it's maybe right below comedy, kind of. I mean, I like things that are meaningful, but not so on the nose. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, you can write something meaningful because it has been done a million times, but I'm not sure what I'm getting at right now. I just know that I love these bittersweet moments. And I personally prefer it with the end happily. But it is hard to write a good bittersweet moment that really hits. And Rai can do that. She just did that. So, woo.
This was far from his imagination. Part of him wanted one of them near, and the other part thought rationally, thinking whoever was watching that neither of them were in this mess.
They are, though, because you are.
Especially Kinma. Innocent Kinma was Sato's target. A small
Nobody
chuckle
likes Kinma.
escaped from underneath his breath, knowing
Nobody.
Sato's behavior and crimes. It wouldn't be much long until he comes back to kill him. Bokuto was usually optimistic, but it was hard to do so with the constant throbbing pain with both current and previous injuries, plus the visual he was knee-deep in his grave. If this could at least delay Sato's pursuit in attacking any of them, then this was worth it. He would gladly take the fall. Because soon after, Kema will hopefully keep his promise and get both of them away from here. If he could think of any regrets he may have, it would be not giving his lovers a proper goodbye and not expressing his love enough.
Shit.
One of his last moments with Kema and Akashi were shared fearful looks. And his moments with Kodo were shared with such hateful words. It hurt. He heard the doorknob twist and the door open.
Like, again, I'm sorry for interrupting so much, but this is probably one of his biggest fears. Of, like, having a fight with someone, separating, and then either me or the other person dying. Like, I think I might even be more afraid of if I were the one to die, because I feel like surviving in that case would be the worst. You know what I mean? Like, surviving, you would just feel so guilty, and I don't want anyone to go through that. So I would rather take it is definitely one of my biggest fears. And I do blame my mom for that. It is, like, I am grateful that she always reminded me not to go out of the house while we were fighting. Very grateful for that, but nowadays I'm just like, whenever I do fight with someone and our ways part, I'm just like, what if I see that person ever again? It's common in media to entertain that thought and that trope, but damn, it hurts when I see it.
But it would be over soon.
No. Oh god.
The officer threw his keys down onto the desk and set a cup of coffee down rather harshly after coming back from patrol. It seemed that where he thought he had a lead was actually a dead end.
Great.
After informing his family of the outcome, he obviously couldn't just go back home and rest. It was his fault for getting a civilian involved, and now he needs to take responsibility.
I totally agree.
Damn it, kid.
No,
He glanced over at the laptop, Bokuto preoccupied when doing his research.
But it was your fault, okay?
While he had made it a secret rule that he would never snoop around with someone else's belongings without permission, this wasn't exactly normal.
I'm sorry. You made it a secret rule. I thought, okay, look, I'm not sure if he's just an officer or if he's a detective, because I feel like, obviously, just under specific circumstances and if it is warranted, but, like, I feel like that's kind of the job of a detective. Damn, this officer is even more incompetent than I thought.
Circumstances.
Oh, man.
He opened the laptop and began looking at everything there was to look at. Downloaded files, hidden encrypted notes, everything. After many hours and 2 more cups of coffee, he was really close to giving up when he found it. It was a folder that was barely even registered on the device, completely erased from the history browser.
You needed many hours for that?
Damn, I really underestimated him.
I overestimated you as a
He
police
probably
officer.
would have caught him much sooner, but being sleep deprived didn't help his situation. He pulled his phone out and dialed a number. What the hell do you want? Well, someone's in a cheerful mood. Come on, don't be like that. It's late. We were out all night searching for that kid. Why are you still at the station? Never mind that. The officer shut the laptop after jotting down a few notes that he may forget between here and there and grabbed his keys. I have a lead, and I'm sure of it this time. You were sure last time.
This is a missing person case with a murderer on the loose. And that is your response to I have a lead? I mean, if this was like the 10th time, yeah, I'd get it. But this is only the 2nd time and you really kind of need to do everything you can, right? I don't like any of these police officers.
Well, I'm even more sure now. I looked at the kid's laptop and found the address. There was a pause.
How could Pocoto find this but the police
You didn't do that beforehand?
Exactly.
You're
exactly.
such a dumbass.
Sadly, I do like this second
He heard
police officer
shuffling
a bit
on the
better.
other line. That got him moving. While it was careless and completely irrational idea, he let his morals come first.
Oh my goodness. Don't tell me
There's a
something
time
about
and
morals.
place for that. And
You
this
let a
obviously
civilian,
wasn't it.
a minor,
And
work on this
hopefully,
case.
his hesitance
Don't
didn't
tell
cost
me
Bokuto
anything
his
about
life.
morals.
After hanging up and ran out of the station, I'll hop into his car to go to the meet spot. Just hang on, kid.
The more I learn about them, the less I like you.
While both
The idea
Kodo
is to
and
be
Kamo
so
were still
much
trying to
better.
comprehend everything, Akashi understood it surprisingly easy. That didn't mean he wasn't petrified or worried, because he definitely was. He just developed a burning hatred for that man, Sato, for harming everyone.
Great.
So, he did what everyone else would do in a situation like this. He resorted to finding out who Sato really was. The end left him a shaking mess. No. This couldn't be. He felt nauseous, like the research made his stomach flip inside out. Meanwhile, Kodo walked into the same room, taken aback seeing the setter nearing a panic attack. Keiji? What? He's going to kill him! The captain froze, getting next to the smaller, pulling him into his arms. He is going to kill Ko.
I love Kudo
The setter's
Akashi
panic sent the older
interactions.
panicking, but regardless, did his best to calm himself for Keiji's sake. What are you talking about? Bao is strong. Not against Sato. He is strong, but not against him.
And he's hurt. And he's just
Kodo
a
saw a
civilian.
glimpse towards
and
Kama's
probably had
PC
never
that
taken
the
a
Raven was
self-defense
using
class.
and saw the gruesome pictures.
There are pictures available to
He's
the
still
public.
injured too. Do you think you can find him?
No. I mean, like, look. Considering that I know now how incompetent the police is here right now, I kind of get it. But also, no. Don't do the same mistake. This is a mess. God, this is a mess.
Akashi rose his head from the Rooster's shoulder with wide eyes. What? You want to go after him? The captain took his lover's hand and gave it a small squeeze.
Back on track. Okay. We were at... Oh shit, what are we doing here? Fuck. Let's go.
Feeling very conflicted about all of this. I can't just sit back and wait.
How do you do that? How do you do this with like How do you do that? Right, tell me your secret right now.
When he is fighting for his life and keeping us safe. You deserve nothing from me, least of all my trust. He couldn't believe he said all of those hateful words to Bokuto.
Wasn't your fault.
He needed to make
Wasn't your
things
fault.
right. I have an idea. It's just a hunch that may be wrong. A hunch is better than nothing. Akashi smiled while the blonde walked into the room. What are you doing? He was glued to his game, most likely an escape from reality, one that involved Bokuto missing. Well, we are going after Ko. The smaller flinched and set his game down. Okay,
No.
I'm going with. It probably would have been better if he hadn't mentioned it. No, Ken, you have to stay here.
Oh, please.
What? Why? He bit the inside of his cheek, trying to find the right words without scaring him. Ken, you're Sato's target. We can't put you into danger like that.
As if Sato would hesitate to kill any one of you.
He will instantly go after you.
He will instantly go after
Kenma
everyone.
shrugged. Then use me as bait. The two ravens stared at the smaller that had said that so nonchalantly with wide eyes.
I don't want that, but Kenma, you're
Bait?
my absolute
Kenma,
favorite
are you
right
out
now.
of your mind? Maybe, but I don't think any of that matters.
Oh, I love him so
He
much.
glanced at his own PC with the images still lurking through the screen. Kotaro is in danger because of me.
No, but yes. But
Kenma,
no.
this isn't your
No,
fault.
Exactly.
Akashi stood up, embracing the smaller.
Sato's fault and Bokuto's own stupidity.
But it is.
And the
I'm
incompetence
his
of the
target.
police.
If it weren't for that, Ko wouldn't have recklessly gone off like that. You're not gonna give this up, are you?
Of course not. Are you?
Akashi laughed lightly. You should know Ken is as stubborn as Bokuto. I
But
believe that
that's
is why
silly.
we're soulmates. He smiled smugly before remembering that Bokuto was no longer by his side. They had to do this. They
Perfection.
were going to save
Love it.
Bokuto. Alright,
Oh my.
here's the plan.
Everyone
The older
see the
man's
warning
knee
right
connected
there.
with
See the
Bokuto's jaw,
warning.
almost knocking the chair he was tied to off its legs and sent a sharp pain in his face. You've interfered with my plans. I don't like that. Was the middle-aged man really throwing a tantrum? It was
He's-
pathetic,
he's a-
but Bokuto didn't say anything, given to his powerless position.
We all know that adults who throw temper tantrums are the most annoying and at times dangerous ones. Like, have you seen Karens?
Bokuto chuckled. What a coincidence,
Sure.
because I don't like you. With Sato's short temper, Bokuto's provoking only rewarded him with another blow, this time knocking the chair over. The impact knocked the air out of the owl, making him wheeze for air. Even still, it was totally worth it. By now, his shoulder was definitely dislocated fully, and would give out at any moment. The contusions on his back once felt like needles, but now they were raging daggers dragged along his skin.
One sec. Rival something? So you want to know what I think about this once I finish reacting? We'll see. I'm
He
waiting for
wasn't
the
sure
happy
what came
end.
over him to confront Sato alone. Maybe it was a sudden burst of confidence from figuring out his hideout, or maybe it was just for the sake of putting an end to the mindless hunt of his lovers. Love made him blind and step into danger on his own free will. One thing was for certain. He would take the blows for as long as he could manage. To protect them. He fought off the black dots dancing in his vision, his golden eyes that once had a lively, carefree soul, now with a frozen, menacing glare. You're a tough kid. Don't call me that. He spat. It didn't seem right for him to call him that, not when the officer who had showed him so.
Look, this is probably wrong, and maybe I'm biased because I absolutely do not like the officer. And I refuse to call him Officer Sawamura because Daichi will do a better job. But like, and I think I suspected that before. What if Officer Sawamura is it? Like, it doesn't. I just called him that. Fuck. It doesn't look like it. It's a bit nonsensical from the way the officer behaves. But just like, he also calls him kid. Maybe Sato picked that up. I'm just saying. Also, I really don't like him. Like, both of them. But at least, look, Sato is a competent villain. The officer just a bad police officer. The question is it because he's actually very much incompetent or because he's corrupt and like really corrupt? Guess we'll see.
So much kindness was the one to do so. He couldn't help but wonder if he had received the note or began looking through his workstation and found his location, or if his lovers knew. At this point, it was only wishful thinking. After spacing out for who knows how long, he's surprised to find the older man untying him from the chair.
Oh, he gonna kill him.
What? He was pulled up from off of the ground, which sent all of his nerves in his back setting off. There was a clatter on the ground. Bokuto glanced down to see a knife right next to the chair that he once preoccupied. Pick it up. Was this a trap? He surely didn't want to test his patience once more, feeling the familiar ache in his jaw. He bent down, using one of his arms to hold his side, almost afraid that his ribs would give, and grabbed the knife. He wasn't sure what to do with the knife, so he held it out awkwardly. Come at me. Bokuto looked at him in surprise. Was he crazy? I mean, yes, but this is absurd. Even Inoue thought so. Mr. Sato, what are you thinking? Bokuto hesitated.
I'm intrigued.
Just what game was he playing? He backed into the corner, not knowing what his next move should be.
Very much
Yes,
intrigued.
he was free from the ropes and didn't have a gun pointed to his head to hold him back, but he was beyond injured. Could he really take on 2 serial killers by himself? Come on, what happened to that spunk? He clenched onto the handle of the knife. Tell me, why are you after him? Who? That infuriated him to the point of tears. He couldn't even have the decency to acknowledge Kenma's name.
Well, then obviously it's something
Kenma.
personal.
Why are you after him? What did he do? He knew the answer, but he genuinely wanted to hear him from it personally. Sato finally wiped the obnoxious smirk from his face and he was accepted. He was wanted. He was loved by many. He was everything I've ever wanted.
Now that's a
The
plot twist.
jealousy pumps through my veins with burning rage and the desire to end him. Bokuto couldn't help but laugh. So you're doing this because you never fit in or was accepted?
Just as Kenma before he started his youth
Sato
career,
went to
I
kick the
see.
boy, but seemingly forgot of the knife in Bokuto's hands that plunged into his ankle. Even the owl forgot about it. It was just a defensive move. Give this up. We are just kids. We shouldn't have to be fighting your battle. Bokuto ripped his grip from the knife and moved away.
You can't reason with him, like...
I understand wanting to prove your worth, but this isn't the way to go about it. This is just plain cold-blooded murder.
Well, obviously.
He mustered all of his strength he could to knock the older man down and pin him to the ground. Mr. Sato! End this, Sato.
Like... absolutely nothing against to try... Ooh. Absolutely nothing against to try and reason with people instead of using violence. Very obviously a good move. And in general, I would say, like, you always should try to see the person as a whole. That doesn't require forgiving them for what they did or anything. That's not what I mean. But like a little bit like in Demon Slayer, very much like Tanjiro's philosophy from Demon Slayer, if you've seen it. So nothing against that. But in this very moment, I don't think personally, as someone who has absolutely no professional background in psychology, but like I personally don't think you can reason with him in this state and so on. So what Bokuto is trying to get here at, I don't think it will work. You know? Like, once Sato is imprisoned, and perhaps most likely from what it sounds like in a forensic facility, then yes, try to get to the bottom of how he became what he is today. But in this very moment, I mean, if it keeps him distracted, sure. But you know...
The owl's eyebrow arched, hearing the man below him start laughing hysterically. It seems you failed the test.
Test?
What?
What test?
He was cut off by a sharp pain igniting in his leg where he felt the knife from before plunge through his skin.
Am I stupid?
He hissed before falling to the ground, finding the battle to fight the darkness increasingly become more of a task. Shit. This wasn't happening.
What test?
This wasn't where he was supposed to die.
You're not going to die.
He had to fight a little longer, to buy his lovers more time. He couldn't go down. Not yet. He forced himself onto his knees, feeling the warm liquid pour down his leg. Red filled his vision when the blood from his head hazed over his eyes. Sato crouched down, like the pain in his ankle meant nothing, and smiled in amusement.
Oh, he's either insane or on drugs, or both.
Wow,
both.
You're still going. Quite impressive, little one.
Get to the point. What test?
Go to hell.
Love the voice.
He spat, not even trying to filter himself anymore. Sato backhanded him off of his knees, making his vision double. He couldn't get up. It was the last hit that did him in. He couldn't fight. He was going to die.
No. No.
His ears were ringing when he heard a door slam open and shouting. Put your hands up.
Oh, finally.
Sato unholstered his gun and cocked it, aiming at Bokuto who barely hanging on the consciousness. He heard the officer curse.
So he's probably not the
It was just
one.
the officer that arrived at the scene. Through blurry vision, a mixture of the amount of blows and tears, he saw a familiar outline. Don't shoot! Kura got in between Sato and his lover, holding both hands out, ready to take the bullet if need be. What the hell are you doing there, kid? Don't shoot! Please! Kura reached behind him, taking the owl's arm that was cold and wet from blood.
Wasn't there also a warning for death? Was it Sato's test to kill him? Like, does he want to die? And that's why he... I mean, I considered that before, but like... So... Oh... Oh, I'm nervous. This is so good.
Tetsu. He saw Akashi and Kemma standing behind the officer. What were they doing? They weren't supposed to be here. They should already be on their way out of this prefecture. Not here.
Bokuto, they're doing the same that you would
here?
try to do, so...
Kura spun his head and gasped, seeing the state of the ace. His hair was no longer gelled. He had blood dripping from his head and nose. Even the whites of his eyes were strained with red lines and erupted vessels. Not to mention the puddle of blood surrounding his leg and the broken sound of his voice. I couldn't leave you. You're going to be okay.
You're still
I'll get you out of here. I don't think so. Kura turned his attention back to Sato, who raised his gun, making the raven turn back to his lover, scooping him into his arms and braced himself. I'm sorry, he whispered. There was a loud bang.
Was it? It was
The captain thought he would feel a fiery oblivion erupt through his entire system, but only heard someone drop to the ground.
It was Sato.
Koto looked to find both Sato and a boy his age on the ground. Inoue. What? While Sato made his shot, Inoue had jumped in front of the two, and the officer made his shot, successfully shooting down Sato. What are you?
What the fuck?
He croaked, dragging himself to the boy on the ground appeared to already be gone. You idiot.
Why?
He slumped down, letting the darkness gladly take over, and Officer Suwamura let out a shuddered breath.
Why?
Holy shit. That was... Then he remembered Bokuto. Oh shit, the kid. He hopped over the two criminals and got to the captain's side. Kid?
Why?
It's Bokuto. You dumbass.
No, not endearing, still don't like
The
him.
officer laughed and sighed in relief. You're the dumbass here. What the hell were you thinking, coming here by
You're
yourself
both-
without a word?
You both are. The only difference is that Bokuto is a lovable dumbass.
The two setters walked into the room after collecting themselves from everything they just witnessed. As much as I'd like to scold him, he is quite injured. Right, I'll go and get the paramedics who are right outside. He hopped over the criminals once more, running out of the room and left the four alone. Why didn't you leave? He
Not the
looked up at
question.
Kenma,
Why
who was
did
the one he
Inoue
made
do
promise about leaving.
What he did. Who was the
You
corrupt
know
cop?
that none of us would have left like that.
Where was
Not without
Sato's
you.
test?
Bokuto chuckled before wincing. Yeah, I guess so. I should have known. He felt Koto's grasp on him tighten slightly. I'm sorry. I never meant any of those words. I promise. I'm so sorry. He was cut off, feeling Bokuto's hand gently caress the taller's cheek. It's okay. I know. You were just stressed and worried. It's my fault. No, I thought you were going to...
It was Bokuto's
I'm sorry.
fault, obviously.
Bokuto laughed once more, making everybody confused. I didn't think I would see you three anymore. But you made it. And we are right here. Bokuto crossed his arms and pouted. I understand Tetsu coming here, but you two should be resting.
You
You're
should be
recovering
resting.
from illnesses, which is not something to take lightly. He tried
Such
to
a
scold
hypocrite.
them, but his voice
Such
would give
a
him away
hypocrite.
with pure exhaustion and weakness. Try backing up your argument when you don't try to confront a serial killer on your own.
Will injured.
This might be my opinion, but can we do next Christmas at me or Cole's place? Could have laughed, holding the setter's hand. That might be for the best. Just then, the paramedics came in and placed
Just
Bokuto on
then?
a stretcher, already
Wow.
attending his wounds.
Now we already have incompetent cops.
The
and
officer was
incompetent
back at his side, once the three volleyball players were dismissed to visit them at the hospital later. You did it, kid. Although I'd rather the outcome not be this. He pointed out Bokuto's battered state. Without Inoue in the picture, Sato could be behind bars for good. While it was true that their stalker and target problem was no longer apparent, Inoue was dead.
Who is Inoue and why did he do what he
Yeah,
did?
but he was just a kid.
I thought he was a
That
serial
is
killer as
true.
well.
While we may never know the reason, he saved you and your boyfriend's lives.
We know.
Yeah, he was
No.
right. Man, I'm gonna have to fill out a shit ton of paperwork for this.
Oh, poor thing.
The officer whined, leaning back inside the ambulance. Thank you. Without you, Kema may already have been gone.
What the frick did he do? What? Like, okay, he shot Sato at the end, but other than that, what did he do? What? I don't think he's very deserving of gratitude here.
The officer smiled. Just get some rest, kid. Bokuto nodded and closed his eyes, not falling asleep, mostly because he wasn't allowed to yet, but instead reflected on his winter break.
That was one hell
It
of
was
a ride.
hectic and coming to a closing point. He definitely didn't imagine it to turn out this way, but regardless, relieved that it was finally over.
You should take a bit of a long.
Wow, I feel like I've been working on this little mini-series for far too long, but it's finally over. While it is sort of kind of not really finished, the following events will be more discussed in the next prank, which is, I don't even know. I can't sleep prank? Maybe? I think that's what it is. I think the first part is going to be Daisuke Iwa Oi, because we need to give Boku Akukodaken a break.
Yes.
So, definitely. But the I Can't Sleep is going to be more of a fluffy hurt comfort at the most, because this was as angsty as I can get for the meantime. I don't really know what I'm saying. Yeah, bye. Thank you so much for watching.
Okay, listen up. I liked it. It was, 1 second, very, very suspenseful. I loved how it was written. I think that much was noticeable. The police was still unkind. I'm sorry. Am I supposed to feel like sympathy for Officer Sawamura? Because I really don't. I'm so sorry, but like. Anyways, I have still questions. Who knows? Maybe they will get answers. Like, why did Inoue sacrifice himself? Like at first, when Bokuto talked to him, I was still like, okay, what are his motivations? But then it seems like he was really just strictly insane. I mean, like, of course, there's always something behind that as well, but like, that wasn't really an indicator that he didn't want to do that, or didn't want to be a serial killer, or didn't want Sato to hurt them. So the question remains, why did he save him? Furthermore, what was Sato's test? Like, I really thought for a second I had figured it out, but I don't. American Beast, did I miss something? If I did miss something, please tell me in the comments. And last but not least, who was the corrupt? Like, maybe it's not important. That could be. Like, this would be one of the only questions where I really wouldn't be bothered if it was left unanswered. Because, yeah, there was a good chance that there simply was a corrupt police officer, but the character wasn't important to us. It wasn't introduced to us all possible. I don't think Officer Sawamura would be smart enough, and apparently we're supposed to feel like sympathy for that guy. No, but overall, very beautiful series. Like, you hurt them so much. Oh my god. I really, really want to say that was bad, but then I think about Daisuke Iwa Oi, and I was like, that'd be a bit hypocritical of me. But hey, at least I never put in just one series, like in just 3 parts, everyone's life on the line at least once, which you did. First Akashi, then Kenma, then Bokuto, and lastly Kodo, so it's an achievement. Oh god, it's an achievement, but damn right. Very, very well written as always. This is perhaps my favorite part so far. Not just because it has the happy end, though that certainly is something very positive, but also from the writing. Like, the dialogue between Inoue and Bokuto was witty. I actually really liked Inoue as a character, so it's very, very sad that he died. I don't know what about him, like, at the moment, obviously I was like, no, but later on, you know, he would be kind of, I can imagine he would be kind of one of the villains I would sim for. Also, Sato, beautiful written villain, which all the more I wished we could have expanded on what his test was, on what he wanted to reach. Like, we got this really short moment of insight on why he did what he did. And I don't even know if it's necessary. Like, you don't always have to feel a certain kind of sympathy or pity for the villain for it to be a good villain. Sometimes they can just fulfill the role. But in that case, it was mentioned, and I don't think it was neither good nor bad at that point. But I think because it wasn't expanded on further, I can't really judge if it was good or bad. it was just out there, and it kind of fit his character, but I could also just have seen him as someone who killed for sport, so yes. Still, it was fascinating. I really, really wish we would have seen more about the Sesame means. Who knows, maybe we will get back to that in future parts of this show. So yeah. Also, again, I'm not really sure if we should if we should sympathize with the officer. But if we don't, like, I don't know. I think it was a well-written character despite being so incompetent, because it gave you something to be mad about, and it fulfilled his function. Good. I just don't like him, which doesn't mean it's a bad character. I'm just, what was the intention behind him? That is kind of my question. So when it comes to the new characters that were introduced, I really like them. Like, I liked Sato. I wished we could have seen more of him. I liked Inoue. He's my favorite of the new characters. I'm so sad that he died. I really, really wished we could have seen more of him. And that was it so far. I liked it. I'm excited to see what the future pranks will hold. Excited to see Daisuke Boy again. There's not enough content for them, and we really do need more. And I'm working on that. Riot's working on that, and I'm very happy about it. So the overall conclusion, I like the series, heard a lot, but with this ending, I don't know, maybe I'm just in a very generous good mood today, but I would say this was a worthy ending. Thank you so much for it, and I hope you all have a wonderful and amazing day. I hope you like this reaction video, right? Bye!